Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone out there in Giant Land. Good morning to you and many more. Oh, it's Wednesday. We are creeping. I'm going to creep a little bit closer to game time, a little bit closer to Sunday, a little bit closer to those vaunted Tennessee Titans. I've had some, I laugh because I'm looking at the chat, the early chat, and I had some Titan fans come out and tell me that they were going to be stopping into the chat today to see what we speak about in reference to the Tennessee Titans and how we perceive them to be. And that's what I laugh, because you know what? Because I always laugh with Tennessee Titan fans because of the fact that they don't know. They don't know. They don't know this channel is not only a Tennessee Titan channel, a New York Giants channel, but it's the channel of Malik Willis. Bring him the boom! Oh, we love us some Malik Willis here. We still will. We're still going. We're going to tighten up. Because that's what we like to say. We like to say tighten up. We got Zach in the room. We got Braden in the room. We got Far Sendor in the room. We got Mike Lee sitting there in the room. Actually, Far Sendor seems to be a Titan fan. We're going to talk about the Titans. We're going to talk about the Titans issues. I've said this before. I think this is the first time that the Giants will have a matchup that will maybe in their favor in reference to the secondary. You got Robert Woods. 3 years removed or 4 years removed now from his two back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with the Rams. The wide receiver core has the rookie burner, and I worry about him going up against the venerable Aaron Robinson, defensive back extraordinaire, who has problems with speed guys. You got Austin Hooper, who's a couple years removed from his days at Cleveland. But the problem is you have King Henry, and the Giants, when you're manning the middle with Tay Crowder, Carter Coughlin, McFadden, hopefully Azeez Ojulari is going to be able to play. Azeez suited up. He suited up on yesterday. He suited up. Thibodeau is still nursing his MCL sprain, and I said we're not going to rush Tibbs back just to make this game. But like I said, this will probably be one of the first times that the Giants may have a push. They're not better than, I don't think they're better, the defense and secondary, 100% than the wide receivers of the Tennessee Titans, but it's a push. And you have to worry about that Titans offensive line. I said it a million times. I've watched every single Titan game because of Malik Willis. Oh no. It can't be. It is. It's my brother, Armando. Hola, Armando. ¿Dónde está? Mi amo, Armando. What's up, Armando? I haven't heard from you and seen you in a while. You know it's Old Home Week when Armando's back. Before we get started really in full swing, I'm going to have to do the intro because this is also going to be recorded live for the podcast, and we're going to actually be doing live podcasts coming up. So if you can't catch us on the stream, you can be able to watch you can log into a live podcast. Gonna be talking about that in a little bit, but let's get into the intro. And you know what? We have to we're even gonna do the music. Are we ready? Here we go. We're gonna go in 3, 2, 1.
All aboard the Malik Willis Express.
That's right, everyone. This is Tim of the Online Big Blue. We'll bring you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. We're, of course, talking to the early bird special. It's Giant Straight Talk. This is going out on the YouTube sphere, the podcast, and the Twitter sphere, and everything else in between. We're going to be talking about Giants. We're going to talk about Titans. We're going to be talking about the Leonard Williams contract void, the $4 million void in his new contract, the voidable year that's going to cost us $4 million. We're going to talk about Azeez Ojulari putting back on the pads. Kayvon Thibodeau still running gingerly. We're going to talk about everything going on with this team. We're going to talk about Darius Slayton being dropped down almost fourth team on the unofficial Giant depth chart. Could Marcus Johnson be far behind? We're going to talk about how the Giants offense matches up against the defense of the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Well, we got a lot of good people in the room. We got a lot of friends here. We got Emmanuel here saying it's the early bird special part 2. We're going to be doing this through Friday. And then we're going to take Saturday off, and then we're going to do the 10:30 stream as we always do. What's up, man? We got Armando in the room. It's more apparent that Slayton is going nowhere, and he wants to stay. It's more apparent, but the problem is, why do you push him so far down the depth chart? You have Kadarius Toney starting outside with Kenny G. Problem child 1, problem child 2. Only kid that's not a problem child is Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton had 2 good years back-to-back. Had a bad year last year like every other Giant wide receiver because Daniel Jones missed those last 6-7 games. But we're going to blame him for everything. It's your fault, Darius. What the hell were you thinking of being a professional? Tighten up, baby. Tighten up. Can't wait for this week, says Armando. Our Tennessee Titan friend says, Willis is the future. The Titan fully believe he will be the starter next season. I've already said this, my friend. I'm going to tell you this right now. I had a dream, and it was proven through Madden. I had a dream. Giants up by 5, under 2 minutes. Tannehill gets wrecked. Willis comes in, drives down the field, throws the game-winning touchdown. The Titans win by 1. Then I was playing Madden. You can watch it, go to my Twitter page and look at it. I changed it to a Giant home game. Giants up by 5 with under 2. Tannehill gets wrecked. Malik Willis, a beautiful throw to the rookie in the corner of the end zone. It almost made me cry. James Williams is in his house. He's here. Hit that like. Vander said, dude impressed every single preseason game. Titans media were really impressed with him this week to week-to-week progress, meaning Willis. Of course, he is.
All aboard.
We rode the Malik Willis Express here for months leading up to the draft. I wanted the Giants to take Willis because I saw the potential. I saw the future. He was Vic Ultralight. And to me, he still is. NFL Network voted him the most exciting player during this preseason. That and $1.50 gets you $1.49. But you know what? It does mean something at the end of the day. Hit that like button. What's up? What's up, Roy? Up with the grandkids listening from Indian Land, South Carolina. Is that anywhere near Indian Wells? I don't know. Is that near Indian Wells? Slayton took a pay cut. He did take a pay cut because Slayton wants to stay. Slayton wants to be here. Slayton wants to be a Giant. I said this before. You cannot get rid of Darius Slayton because of the fact that he, outside of Kenny G, is your only true wide receiver. And he just took the pay cut 24 minutes ago. Darius Slayton agrees the pay cut will remain with the Giants. Here's how much salary cap Joe Schoen created. So you'll see his salary goes down from 2.5 to $965,000. That means 1.57 million is additional cap space for Schoen. Leonard Williams freed up 11.9. Giants were over by 7, so 11.9 plus 1.5. If I do my math, the Giants have carried the $14 million in cap space. They don't. They got like $3 million. But it's all good. He wants to be here. People made fun of me because I said Darius Slayton needs to be a Giant. People are, you got to get rid of him. He's 1 season removed from having 2 good seasons in a row, and the fact that he had a bad quarterback the last 6 games and not a great quarterback the first 12 or 11. But we got to get rid of him. You want to know why? Because Mike Lee just said it best. Of course, because it's never DJ's fault. Armando wants to know, do you think about the Giants going after Odell? He's not going to go after Odell. Odell tore his ACL in February. Unless he's Adrian Peterson and is going to make an 8-month comeback, that means February till February. A year before he can come back. Minimum. Season's over. He's going to come back if the Giants win the Super Bowl? The players, so what's up, RFFD? The players vilified from most by fans. The players vilified most by fans that passed. You know what? It just disgusts me that people don't understand the importance of Darius Slayton. They would rather have David Sills. I'm sorry, I'd rather have Darius Slayton. For everything that you could say about Darius Slayton, for everything that you want to talk about in regards to Darius Slayton, if you go back and look, Darius Slayton had 2 700-plus yard seasons in a row where he averaged 15.4, 15.5, 8 and 3 touchdowns. And then the year his quarterback play goes down, He was targeted less. His total targets dropped exponentially. And the problem is if your total targets drop exponentially and you cannot be on the field, if you cannot, he went from 701 total snaps to 877 to 536. He dropped from 75, 87, and 64% of the snaps of the offensive plays. He only started 5 games and was in 13 last year. But don't worry. It's everyone else's fault but his. I'm not saying he doesn't shoulder some of the blame. I'm not saying that at all. Because you want to know why? Because at the end of the day, you do. But the problem is, you can't say everything. You can't, and I've said this a million times about Jason Garrett and everyone else. You can't use all the excuses for Daniel Jones and not use them on any other player on the team. That's all I'm saying. I'm glad Darius back. Zach says, I think the Titans will run up the middle gut since because of the middle, the Giants is the weakest. But I'm already telling you, I've said this before. I've seen it. Like I saw it last year in the Cleveland game. Cleveland showed the game plan for the entire Giants season. Off tackle left, off tackle right, off tackle left, over the top. Tennessee Titans understand with Derrick Henry. You pound the middle. You pound it.
That's what she said.
You just keep hitting it over and over. And I told you, a friend of mine was like, I think Derrick Henry will have 100 yards. I think Derrick Henry might have 100 yards in the first half. Because you got the likes of DJ Davidson. You got the likes of Dexter Lawrence. You have the likes of Leonard Williams sitting there plugging up the middle. And then you have an undersized, undermanned middle linebacking core. If Derrick Henry gets into the second level, you have to be extremely scared. You have to be frightened if you're a Giant fan. I've said it before. I might not even throw the ball. I might not even. Just run it. And prove that the Giants can bring up 7, 8, 9 in the box and prove that they can stop the run. Now, the problem is when you're doing that, you're going to go play action. And we do not have the coverage personnel available in reference to our linebacking core. Let's go look at the Giants depth chart. Let's go to the Giants unofficial depth chart and see exactly what we're looking at here for week 1. Let's see exactly in our base offense and our base defense. You're going to have Tay Crowder, Austin Calitro, Kayvon Thibodeau, hopefully, and Azeez Ojulari basically back there. Tay is not known for his coverage ability. Austin Calitro has bounced around 4 times in 3 years, or 3 teams in 4 years. He's not a cover guy. He's athletic, but he's not a cover guy. Tay Crowder is not a cover guy. Julian Love, who may have to be the in-the-box strong safety in the likes of Peppers or Logan Ryan, is not known for his ability to cover. He got benched last year and didn't come back until that we needed people to fill in at the slot. And I know people want to talk about Dane Belton and Jason Pincock, but Dane Belton has been out. Barry will tell you. Dane Belton has been out since he fractured his collarbone. So you're looking for a kid that hasn't played in any snaps in preseason to come in, and he's backing up both your strong safety and your free safety. That's a recipe for disaster against Derrick Henry. What do we got here? Matthew, what does Matthew have to say? Good morning. Let's go, Malik. I mean, Giants. Your excitement for Willis has me hyped. Oh, we love Malik Willis. We love Malik Willis because we always think he's.
What you talking about, Willis?
I find your light.
Gotta get to work.
He's Willie Beeman.
That's right.
In my mind, Malik Willis will always be steaming Willie Beeman.
Come on. My name is Willie. Beeman. I keep the ladies creaming and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me. You're dreaming.
Gotta finish the whole video. We love Malik Willis. What does Emmanuel have to say? People tend to forget he was a fifth round pick and was the GM's, not to be named, the best picked. I don't know why people want him gone. So maybe because he's a Gelman guy. That could be. I didn't even think of that. Indian Wells. No, there's an Indian Wells golf course. I can't remember if Indian Wells in North Carolina or South Carolina. I played the golf course. I can't. What happened to my mouse here? What do we got? RF says the players vilified most by the Giants the past 1.5 years are the same that are most professional. Bitching or moaning, Slayton, Solder, and Bradbury. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. If you do your job, if you come in and work every day, if you don't complain and you are professional about it, some fans don't like you. I don't know why. What does Michael have to say? Michael says Slayton is better than Sills. Way better. Of course he's way better than Sills. That's not even a debate. Armando. What does Armando have to say? That would not be a bad addition for the bowl. Yeah, if we get to the Super Bowl, sure. Odell was immature, but I feels like he's growing as a player. I never had a problem with Odell. I don't want to talk about Odell, but I never had a problem with Odell. I think if you think of diva wide receivers, there have been plenty, Randy Moss, who are way out of the spectrum, Terrell Owens, that really gave the true definition as a diva. And I don't think he was really a diva. I just think he was kind of a knucklehead. And people did not like what he did in some things. Like I said, I was a little concerned about him in the bed with the French model with the cigarette. Don't know what that was because back then it wasn't legal. What's up, Kareem? Good morning to you. Mike Lee says, Still's the person who doesn't show up when it's go time. Only the practice squad and the Home Depot team. That's stealing my line. David Sills does show up against the Home Depoters. He does, but you put him up against a professional NFL talent. We saw what happens when he went up to the Stars against Cleveland and during that training camp. We saw what happened when he got his chance last year. He had 2 catches, 2 out of 3, and he dropped one for like 11 yards. But you know what? It's all going to be fine. Logic's fine. It says it's 3 p.m. here in Germany, stuck in the office. Best to your family. Tim, thank you, Logic's fine. Hope you're doing well. Armando says, why did we cut Webb? And he did a better job than Tyrod Taylor. Because Davis Webb was playing against the Home Depoters. Davis Webb's career stats are 2 carries for -3 yards in the last 5 years. Tyrod Taylor's actually won a playoff game. Got his team to the playoffs. He is a professional NFL quarterback. Davis Webb is a professional clipboard holder. Wakey, eggs and bakey, says Mazinga. Time for pancake. Good morning from the West Coast. Tim and Online. Big Blue Sports family. Hope everyone is doing well today. RFFD says, because Webb beat the unemployed players, he's on the practice squad. Exactly. He's on the practice squad. Don't forget to like when you run into the chat, if you don't mind, please. We need to build the channel up this year. The wife says I got to quit. Zach says, I think New York media doesn't do Darius Slayton any favor since the New York media is known for their kindness. Their kindness and they're biased. A little bit there. Let's see here. Titans love working off play action. That's a strength of the pass game. 100%. Tannehill had a down year last year. The Titans, we've talked about this yesterday. They were the team with the largest amount of salary cap money designated to their offensive line, and the Titans still gave up 47 sacks. Ryan Tannehill had a little bit of a down year last year, even with A.J. Brown and everything else going on. But is it going to be an issue for them in reference to the receiving core and their offensive line Titans? Against the Giants, I don't think so. But like I said, I gave the Giants and the the Titans offense. I did a video and I, kind of determined who had the advantage, and I give it a push. Right now, I give it a push unless Derrick Henry runs wild. Then it's the Titans all the way. When is Tibbs? They said 3 to 4 weeks. He was on the practice field yesterday, not in pads. Azeez Ojulari was in pads yesterday. They say 3 to 4. I said 4 to 6. I don't think you rush him back. There's no need to. But I do think you try to get him back for the home opener, if it's up to me. Leonard Williams is a revolving door who doesn't even play every snap. The Giants don't get a push, and Leonard Williams is useless spin move, can't stop anything. Problem with Leonard Williams is you're right. He does. We went over this a couple times with Leonard and a few other Giant players. If you go back in the day, there was Blake Martinez, Logan Ryan, James Bradbury, and Peppers at one point in time were playing 100% of the snaps. I think on average it was 82% for Leonard Williams. And Dalvin Tomlinson, the other player, almost played 100% of the snaps. So yeah, I'm giving you $72 million, and now I have a voidable contract here, which is going to cost me $4 million. I think that to myself right there should tell you that there's something seriously wrong with the fact that we have a voidable contract year that is still going to cost us $4 million. And yes, I understand the salary cap purgatory. How many times did we discuss the salary cap purgatory for this team? But if you take a look at what they did with this contract, let's just take a look what they did. All right, so they converted 18 million of his 19 million salaries into a signing bonus, added an avoidable contract 2 years, which allows the cap charges to be distributed evenly over 3 seasons. So Williams' new cap numbers are 15.3 instead of 27.3 this year, 32.2 in 2023 instead of 26.3, and $6 million for 2024, even though his deal is up. I understand Shane wanted to protect his cap space, but you took almost $5 million of that cap space and pushed it into 2023, and another $6 million and pushed it into 2024. I mean, something's not right there. Something's not right at that situation. And that's all I got to say about that. Dropping, of course, Malik Willis is going to be dropping the boom. Of course, you sang in perfect tune. Of course, I sang in perfect tune, Armando. I've been doing that 1 million times. We got Big Greg coming in all the way from Sweden. Hope Greg is doing well. Matthew says, just imagine Willie plays and cooks the Giants. We drafted Wandell instead of him. We also drafted Cordell Flott instead of him. My theory was this about Malik Willis. Logan Woodside was the second string quarterback for the Titans. He was moved on from because of the play of Malik Willis. The Tennessee Titans are a playoff team, are designated to be a playoff team. And they thought so highly of Malik Willis, they got rid of Logan Woodside. So imagine this, if the Giants drafted Malik Willis in the 3rd round and we didn't sign Tyrod Taylor, there's almost $11 million in additional cap space over the next 2 years. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Why don't he become a number 2 starter? I know he's on the practice squad, but I like this kid, Webb, because Webb is not an NFL talent. Webb is a professional weightlifter. He's a professional film room guy. He's proven that, and he's bounced around the league. He's been given opportunities in preseason. This is the only year he truly shined. But that's all it is. Our RFFD says, meanwhile, Willis trashed the fans for booing, and Tony and Kenny G couldn't stay on the field. We're a headache nonstop. They're a franchise of cornerstone. You said it best. Williams did bash the fans. But you know what? This is 2023. We're not in 2022 anymore. This is 2023. So that's what we're going with. Greg says David Sills doesn't belong on a proper NFL roster. He doesn't. I've said this before. We broke down the Giants roster a couple days ago. I think it was a couple days ago. And we looked at it carefully. And there's probably about 19 guys on this roster who would not be on any other of the 31 teams rosters. Even the bad teams, even the perceived bad teams like the Lions, Seattle, Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is actually going to shock some people this year. Just watch out for what's going on in Jacksonville. Mike Lee says, last year, how about the Jet game? I pulled out the AP for still. The Jet, again, David Sills in the Jet game. I don't think you're going to call the Jet secondary the Legion of Boom. I don't think they're not Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes. And Sills, nothing. And a quarter and change that he played, nothing. What do we got here? Who entices you more currently, Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud? I'm not picking anyone yet. I've already said this. I've already said this. I look at Bryce Young, I look at Richardson, I look at Stroud. I want to get maybe 4 games under their belt. Anthony looked good. The kid from Florida State looked good. I don't think he's coming up for another year. But like I said, we got to give these guys some time. In week 3 of the season, I think we're going to do I think we're going to start doing rankings of the quarterbacks, because you know what? I love it. Joe Shane always, and like I said, he uses his GM speak, says all the right things. Daniel Jones is our guy. We're putting everything behind Daniel Jones. We're going to do everything we can to make Daniel Jones successful as possible because we believe in. Now hold that thought. I got to get on a plane and go to Ohio. Someone asked me yesterday, and all the years you've been watching since 77, and all the years you have been watching the NFL, all of them. Have you ever seen a general manager a week before a season who's $7 million over the salary cap turn around and just leave the organization to go to a college football game to scout a quarterback? Never seen it. Sorry, never seen it. Never seen it, never heard about it. Even worked in the league, never seen it, never heard about it. Armando says, great point. Thank you for answering. You're very welcome, Armando. I try to answer every question as possible. Todd Taylor says, I didn't even know Webb was still in football until we brought him back. That was the general consensus. A lot of people didn't even know Davis Webb was still around. He was in Buffalo. He was learning the Dable system. Everyone says this about Davis Webb, that he would make a fantastic coach. No one ever talks about Davis Webb as, well, he throws a good spiral. He knows how to throw his wide receivers open. He creates space. He's throwing space. He's got great timing. They all say the same thing. He's going to be a great coach. The first thing someone will say, hey, what do you think of Davis Webb? He's going to be a good coach. That tells you he's not an NFL player. I will be sad if you stop doing YouTube. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube, but my wife has given me an edict this year. We've been doing this for 2 years now. She thinks the channel should be bigger. She thinks we should have a larger audience. She thinks I'm not putting in the maximum amount of effort to make this channel grow. All right. Well, I'm going to put in the maximum amount of effort for the next, I don't know. We'll see how long, but I'm going to put in the maximum amount of effort and see how this channel grows. And she's already said if it doesn't grow enough, you're going to have to move on and do something else. I like doing social media. I like doing YouTube. I like doing podcasts. I do additional podcasts as well. I got a new podcast that's going to potentially be coming out soon as well. So you know what? I would never just stop, but I would have to scale it back according to her. So, but we're not going anywhere yet. Henry is not the same. I feel that he's playing scared with the injury. I don't think he's playing scared. I think he's just, he came back to, for the playoffs. He's got a full off season to rest. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be rocking and rolling. That's what I get worried about. Todd Taylor says, please don't rush any injuries in this 5 and 12 season. It's not worth to rush anyone back with an injury. It's not worth it. It's not worth it whatsoever. And like I said, the fact that, and like I said, I keep looking at the Darius Slayton thing. The fact that Darius Slayton gave back money and restructured his deal to stay on this Giants just proves my point more that he's going to make the league minimum. You have Leonard Williams, who's getting 32 plus next year. And you got this kid who wants to be a Giant, who wants to be here, who wants to be a part of the organization, taking a large pay cut to stay here. And you have Leonard Williams just moving money and then pushing even $6 million more into 2024, where I know we have $200 million in cap space in 2024, but we also only have like 37 contracts. We're not going to talk about the cap space because every time I talk about the cap space, people are like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And I've only been right every single time. That's all we're going to say about that. Good morning, Jay. Good morning to you. Todd says they need to find a way to move him from this year off to next year. Yeah, they're not going to be able to. We're stuck with Leonard Williams now all next year. You're stuck with one more season of Leonard. We got the Titan fans saying Titans started week 1 slow on the offense, but has been an issue for a while versus the Cards last year. Henry only had 50 yards. Titans do have that Giants they have lost. Love my Titans, just being realistic. I said this before, my friend Fanzendor. I've said this before. I did a video and I called it the anatomy of an upset. This is one of the true matchups for the Giants, like I said, on defense, that their secondary, I feel like, can handle an opponent's wide receiving core. But like I said, the key is going to be Henry. If they, and like I said, that middle of the Giants defense is scary. Is scary to me because of the fact that, like I said, there is nobody there that I feel has the ability to control the line of scrimmage, even with the issues that you guys have been having, with that offensive line. Like I said, I watched every Titan game. The offensive line was a mess. Malik Willis was right. I mean, I know Vrabel said you want to keep him in the pocket, but Malik Willis was running for his life. But we don't have that run stuffer. Dexter Lawrence is a tweener. He's not a run stuffer. He's more of a Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is not a run stuffer. Then you're going to have Justin Ellis, Nick Williams, and DJ Davidson. And then you have your second level middle linebackers, Tate Crowder and Austin Calitro, backed up by McFadden, Carter Coughlin, and Cam Brown. We're going to talk about it more on Friday. We're going to give our Friday predictions. I would have taken Bachman over Sills. Bachman is still out there in the waiver wire. He's looking for a team that's looking for his talent. He led the NFL in receptions for the preseason. I always talk about the fact that David Sills does not play special teams. Bachman, if you watch that game, I guess it was the Bengals game. He scores the touchdown, and on the very next play, he makes the special teams play within the 15 on the kickoff. David Sills doesn't do that. And I've said this before. If you are the 4th, 5th, or 6th wide receiver on a team, you need to either return punts, return kicks, or play special teams. You need to be a jackknife of all trades, and David Sills is not. David Sills cannot play special teams. Hey, what's up, Mark Stewart? How you doing, my friend? Hope everything is here. OGR Sports is listening at work. We are the Legion of Boom. Kyle S. says, do you think they could surprise you on defense and have a breakout year? With this roster, no, at the moment. I don't see a break unless Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau tear it up, and Leonard Williams gets away from
King of the almost sack.
And does something special. You have to worry about your CB2. You got to worry about your CB1. You have to worry about that all three positions, left corner, right corner, and nickel, are all backed up by Cordell Flott. And Cordell Flott during preseason couldn't cover a bed with a blanket. And then you're backed up by Nick McLeod and Justin Lane. And then your backup safety is Dane Belton, and Julian Love is your starter. I'm going to tell you right now, if you look at probably Julian Love, Aaron Robinson, Calitro, Tay Crowder, probably would not be starters on any other team but the Giants. And that's because of just the way our situation is. It's not bashing the team. It's not knocking the team. It's just the way it is. And that's the way you got to look at it. And that's the way we look at it. Oh, what does Zach Attack have to say? Do you think Dable is going to be calling the plays to Kafka so we focus on being head coach? I think you brought in Kafka. Kafka's been in the league for a hiccup. His highest level or title was offensive passing coordinator. And you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. I could have been the offensive passing coordinator. I could have been the offensive coordinator. Patrick, go out there and throw a touchdown. Look how great I am. They had the training wheels on a little bit with him in preseason. He called all the plays in preseason. I mean, at this point in time, you're paying him to be the offensive coordinator. Let's see what he can do. You ran such a vanilla offense during the preseason because everyone else does, because you're not going to put out your game plan. You're not going to show people what you're going to do during the regular season. So let's see what he does for the first 3 weeks. And I'm going to tell you this: if the Giants sputter, if it's a Kitchens type offense, Dable's going to take over the place. He's going to do what the Walrus did over in KC. He'll take over the place. Jay says Daniel Jones is a backup at best. I don't disagree, and I've said this before. I'm not a Daniel Jones fan. Everybody knows that. I'm not a Daniel Jones hater, though. I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. It's year 4. You talk about putting all the pieces around him, talking about everything having to be perfect. What quarterback lives in a perfect situation? Only quarterback that I know that I ever hear repeatedly over and over again is everything has to be perfect for him to play well. And then I never hear anyone say he'll be a top 10 quarterback. So I don't think he's I think he's a low end starter. That's what I think it is. Todd says Florida State or Ohio State. I'd rather a guy from Duke. Lol.
That's what she said.
I meant, hey-oh. No. Jay says, smash that like button. Yes, please do smash the like button. It does help the channel. It does keep us on the analytics. It does all that fun stuff. We have 31 likes. Let's get up to 50. Let's do something new today. Greg asks, it was Big Greg says, I think he should have a bigger following, but not from the lack of effort. Let's go, Tim, to 100K. I don't know about 100K. I'd be happy if we can get up to, the goal would be to try to get up to 15 before the end of the season. That's the goal. And at least average 2,000 to 3,000 views a video. So we're going to try. We're going to give it a shot and see what happens. And I'll have to go, we will let the chips fall. I'm going to use coach speak. We're going to give it our best effort. We're going to do what we can. We're going to play within ourselves, and God willing, everything will work out. Razzle the Great said, be aware that you are not a true fan until you press that thumb. Good morning. And thank you, Razzle. Good morning, Nikki. What's up, Nikki? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you've been doing. I haven't seen Nikki in a while. Hope you're doing well, Nikki. Razzle the Great said, Tim, let's go Big Blue. Of course. We got the Tennessee Titan fans saying that Henry's first real injury that took him out of multiple games. I don't think he's going to be a playing scared at all. He shouldn't have played versus the playoffs against the Bengals. He wasn't ready. You're right. That's why I said he's had an entire offseason to get himself back in shape, get himself ready. And I think it could be a statement game. And most people forget that Saquon Barkley had one of his worst games of his career against the Titans in 2019. So nobody's talking about that. What does Mike have? What is logic? So Leonard Williams steals money just to play patty cake with the offensive line rather than actually getting a push, but he is the useless spin move is slower than ever. Well, don't worry. You got another year of him. The only sack Leonard Williams will get is the sack of cash that Gettleman gave him. Listen, you know what? How many people were after he had the big season, after Leonard, had that big season, and everyone was loving him. And I said it before, if you looked at what he was doing, Leonard, he was,
Hear ye, come one, come all, for it's the king of the coverage sack.
he was the king of the coverage sack. The secondary gave him the extra seconds needed to get to the quarterback. And I said this after that big season. That big season's great, but you can't pay someone off a good season out of 6 and expect him to be that way in year 7. You can't. But Gettleman, of course, being Gettleman, in fact that he traded for him and everything else, instead of just letting him walk, gave him an exorbitant amount of money. And he's not Aaron Donald. He has not done this over a 7-8 year period of time. He had one good season with the Jets where he made the Pro Bowl, and then average at best. And then he had a half a sack season with the Giants, one good season, and then he went back to normal. And that's kind of where he's going to be. So you're going to give a guy you're going to give $32 million next year to be not Aaron Donald. That's the way I look at it. Razzle the Great says, all they have to do is a few bootlegs to get the D-line moving laterally, and Henry's going to run for at least 150. I just think Henry is just going to pound the middle. I really do. It's going to be ground and pound, play action. And like I said, I worry about the Titans rookie wide receiver because he's a little bit of a burner. And if you put him on Aaron Robinson, there could be some issues. And that, and the problem is also Robert Woods, like I said, is not the player that he was back in LA, back for the Rams. He's not the same guy that had the back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's not. But he's still a professional wide receiver. And I get worried that if you put him up against Aaron Robinson as well, because Aaron Robinson is very susceptible to double moves. And we should look at that. We should be concerned about that. Nick Pratt says Slayton doesn't play in special teams, does he? No, Slayton is a second or a third wide receiver on a team. He doesn't need to play special teams. If you are 4, 5, or 6, you need to play special teams. Now I'm talking about outside wide receiver. I'm not talking about slot guys. Most slot guys need to play special teams or return punts, unless you're like Victor Cruz or Wes Welker or someone like that. Then you do what you do. Doing that thing you do. But when you are a starting outside wide receiver, you don't play special teams. If you are a starting corner, you don't return kicks. Jason Sehorn, looking at you. You just don't. And when I died a little when they said during camp that at one point in time Adoree Jackson was returning kicks, I was like, okay, did we never learn about number 31 and what happened to him in preseason? Did we just totally forget in Giants and the Anacles of Giants history? Did we just totally forget? Don't forget to make sure to hit that like button. We're at the 36 likes. What does Liam have to say? Season that leak is so bleak. The Giants are the Legion of Gloom. Hi-yo. Oh my God. Do you think I don't think Love will be back next year. I think a lot of these guys, I think more than half this roster won't be back next year. RF says there is an article about the best O-line in football in the cap. When it comes down to elite tackle and top 5 guard, the rest are solid, inexpensive players. Can't devote all the cap to the line, to the deep draft line. Tennessee and Las Vegas. You're right. And like I said, Tennessee last year had committed the most amount of salary cap to the offensive line. And their offensive line was not good, gave up 47 sacks. So, and now they're looking even worse. That's why I said there is an opportunity for the Giants this game. Yet, if they are going to win, but there is a chance.
On me, there's a chance. Yeah.
There is a chance. There is an opportunity. What we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about it later. I'm actually more worried about Carolina. Mike says, I have a feeling 3 wins. I had us projected at 5. Vegas has us under 7. I'm still going. I'm saying between 3 to 5 still. Onward and upward, says Mazingo. Make sure you hit that like button. RFFD says, worst case scenario, 3 wins, best case 9, and that's literally everything falling into the lap. I don't even know what Giant fans are smoking. They think 11 to 12 wins. I'm saying worst case scenario 3, best case scenario 6. And I know we have the easiest schedule, according to. I always laugh about that because I don't prognosticate schedules. And I've always talked about this because of the fact that you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen week to week. You don't know what teams are going to be bad that were good. You don't know what teams that are bad that are going to be good. You don't know. I heard all the time last year about the Giants having the easiest second half schedule. And I kept saying to people, no. I said, you can't. And even when Miami was 1-7 Go back and watch the videos. I said, you can't sleep on this Dolphins team. I said, defense is too good. And I like the coach. You can't sleep on this team. And of course, they got the Giants. They got beat. Giants got beat by the Dolphins, and they finished 9-8 after going 1-7. That is a team that believed in its coach and played for his coach. That's all I got to say about that. Logic's Finest says, I've been killing Leonard Williams since the day he walked into the Giant locker room. You had. Logic's Finest also said, we got a 2 for 2 on Logic. 9 wins is possible, but blind hope is 4-13 is the reality. That is the reality. That is truly the reality. Mike says, yes, a Seahorn reference. You got to have a Jason Seahorn reference. Jason Seahorn, all-pro corner, decides he wants to return kicks. I would have said, no, sit your ass down over there. That's what I would have told him. No. And we know how well that worked out. Todd has to say, maybe if he pulls his helmet off and swings it around the offensive line, he will get out of the way and we can get more sacks. I did a fantasy draft yesterday. I don't play fantasy football much anymore. I used to play fantasy football. I got banned out of my league because I won 3 years in a row. And I was probably a little arrogant. So I got banned out of that league. And of course, it was people who went to college where they banned me. So then I stopped playing for a couple of years, and then I played again, and I won. I won another 2 leagues. So then I stopped. But then the Giants have a league. The Giants season ticket holders have a league. So I jumped into that yesterday. And shockingly, you know who my first pick was? And I was picking 6th. You know who my first pick was? Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. Fandor says Giants corners are young and experienced as well. Another weakness for, I like Caleb. Was it Farley? I like Farley. Your other guy, yeah, but the problem, I actually don't. I think you're underestimating your secondary, and I think you're underestimating the secondary against the Giants wide receivers. You have Kenny G, Darius Slayton. You have Kenny G, David Sills, Wan'Dale Robinson, Richie James, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. And you're starting Daniel Bellinger, who's not in concussion protocol, but we have to watch that because either that or we may be playing Tanner Hudson. Sterling Shepard, he's ready to go after the Achilles, but that's going to take him some time to come back. Look what happened with Lorenzo Carter last year. The only people that strike any fear or should strike any fear is probably going to be Kadarius Toney. And you still have Bud Dupree, and you still have a couple other guys that can motor and get to the quarterback. And when you have an offensive line with Feliciano, who's only had 300 career snaps in 8 years under center, Glowinski, we don't know yet again if he's a systems guy because he had a pedestrian career until he got with the Colts. Evan Neal, who's the starting rookie, Ben Bredesen, that says it all, and Andrew Thomas is coming off the ankle surgery. So you generate some rush, you move the pile, you shake the quarterback a little bit, you have an opportunity. But we're gonna talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Timothy says the Giants will win a Super Bowl in 2022, and then the crack wore off. Wait a minute. I'm going to label the soundboard too.
Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
I do think the run defense will be good. You got to love Jason Sehorn. Jason Sehorn was the man. Ron Juan says the positive thing about winning 3 games means you have a top 3 to 5 pick at the end of the year. Daniel Jones is done. Daniel Jones is gone either way. You don't go and scout a quarterback a week and a half before the season when you're $7 million over the salary cap because you believe in Daniel Jones. You had $55 million in cap space next year. You're down to like 50 right now without making some moves. And then I laugh because of the fact that you're not going to designate more than a quarter of that to Daniel Jones, who if he has an great year, who had 1 good year out of 4. You're not going to designate that kind of money. He's gone. And I like I said, I people can hate me because I say these things about Daniel Jones, but then people get mad at me when I say I feel bad for the kid because of the fact that, it was total GM coach speak that we're going to do everything possible to make we're going to do everything possible to make sure Daniel Jones is successful. And I said it before, I never liked the Wan'Dale Robinson pick, but now I understand it. Because of the knuckleheadedness of Kadarius Toney, you drafted redundancy in your slot receiver position, which tells me if Toney turns into the knucklehead during the season, he's out. He's either out by injury or he's out by cause. And then you have Wan'Dale Robinson. But I worry about the 5'8 Wan'Dale Robinson because he does not have burner speed. And if you watched him play in preseason, he needs to learn to protect himself on the field, or he's going to have a fumbling issue, or he's going to get wrecked. And that is just an honest assessment of what the kid is. and the way the kid looks. What does Tyler have to say here? Tyler Schmidt says Darius Slayton looks like he's going to be cut. No, he just restructured. He's not going to be cut. He just restructured 22 minutes ago or 23 minutes ago. He's now playing on the rookie minimum. He saved the Giants on $1.5 million in cap space. He's not going anywhere this entire season, Tyler. RFFD says, you arrogant, me sarcastic? No, never. Not on this channel. Todd Taylor says, we already have 10 captains. Maybe they'll jump some Titans and let them go to us. I've never seen 10 captains before. Captain, admiral. I told people I'm an admiral. If everyone gets to be a captain, I want to be an admiral. What does Liam have to say? Liam says, you meant the Giants will win a Super Bowl in 22 years. I think he meant that too. Seorn broke his leg. Yeah, Seorn tore up his knee. He broke his leg on that play. Broke his leg. Jay has to say, I love to see Lawrence Taylor in his prime take on Derrick Henry. You know, it's funny. Lawrence Taylor in his prime is still probably bigger than some of the linebackers that are starting now. That is the legend of Lawrence Taylor, because you know the Giants linebackers in '86 was incredible because it averaged like something like between 6'3", 6'4", 235, 255. The outside linebackers with you had Andy the Headhunter and Hendon, you had Byron Hunt, you had Robbie Jones. You had Steve Diassi, Lawrence Taylor, you had Peppers, you had Carsons, you had Reasons. You had a linebacking core that was legendary and some considered to be one of the best linebacking cores in the entirety of the National Football League. That's something to say. Like I were talking about old-time Giants, like Dominic Palmer from across the pond. Hey, Jones won't stay unless he plays like an MVP due to cap space, the way he played, etc. I don't expect big moves in free agency next. I don't see big moves in free agency next year either. We're only up to 40 likes. Can we get up to 50 likes today? And I need at least 100 viewers. So people need to get at least 100. We need 27 more people. We have 74 doing the math. Dom knows I'm very good at math. 74 carry this to 100. It means we need 84 more people to come in the room. And people wonder why I do cap space so well. I just don't see it. I don't see him coming. The cap, if you look at the New York Giants salary cap, if you look at this, truly look at this situation for 2023, if you look at it and you see it, and I'm going to pull up my cap numbers right now. I always run the salary cap numbers on my own, but I don't know what I did with the Excel spreadsheet. And I didn't plug in the new numbers for Leonard Williams. So I don't know actively what the new numbers are for Leonard Williams. So I can't tell you right now. But if we take if I look at this, we are still, I had us listed at 50, like 50 something million, almost six, so almost 60 million. I think I have it listed. I have like 60 something million right now. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't put in the new cap numbers, but even if you have like 50 million or 55 million, let's say in total cap space, you're not going to designate that because you are still top heavy with Leonard Williams, who now is going nowhere because that's 20 million in dead cap space, and he's taking up 14.3% of your cap. You got Kenny G taking up 9.5% of your cap, and you got Adoree Jackson taking up 8.8%. And then you have the 2 5-year contracts of your Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas, who's at 4.78 and 5.48. So I mean, I should rephrase it. You have the 5th-year option, which for Dexter Lawrence, which is 10.7. And then the dead cap number is 10.7. So he's not going there. So between 4 guys right now, that's 17, that's 21, that's 30. You have 35% of your cap space tied into 2023 on 4 guys. You're not going to sit there and turn around and dump the rest of the cap space on your quarterback. You're going to go out and draft a first-round quarterback. You're going to ride that first year. You're going to ride that 5-year contract, and you're going to hope that you're winning something before year 3. That was the hope always with Daniel Jones, and that's what you're going to do. LeVar says, I'm here. Let's talk. Todd says, I don't care if we win the Super Bowl twice this year. If we win the Super Bowl twice a year, I love that. I don't want to give Jones 30 million or tie the team to him for the next 4 to 5 years. That's the other thing you need to worry about. Are you going to tie your cart to Daniel Jones's horse for the next 4 years if he has one okay season? He's got to have a phenomenal season. He's got to throw for like 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, rush for another 6 touchdowns with another 800 yards. Then I'll talk about signing him. But if he doesn't do that, I'm dumbfounded. Fansendor says, according to Tennessee Meeting, Henry's been working on his catching the ball hard during training camp and the offseason. Hope it pays off. I do too. I hope for his sake because Derrick Henry's fun to watch, but Derrick Henry's going to have like a Sean Alexander career. He's gonna pound himself to death up, running up the gut. And then all of a sudden, like Alexander did, I think it was like 27 or 28, the wheels just fell off the bus. And I think that's what you have to worry about with Derrick Henry. But there's Dom the bloke. Just a friendly reminder to hit the like button, says Jay. And you always have to do what Jay says, because Jay knows best. Todd Taylor says, anyone afraid of Taylor and Banks was killing people left and right? Taylor and Banks was just, I still think Carl Banks should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Carl Banks on any other team would have been a Hall of Famer. But when you have 2 Hall of Fame linebackers, when you have 4 linebackers and 2 of them are already in the Hall of Fame on that core, that was something else. And like I said, Carl Banks did the dirty work. He did the things that didn't show up on the stat sheet. He was able to cover. He was able to motor. He maintained, and we talked about this a million times, and that Giants are going to have to do this. He was able to maintain his edge against the run, and he allowed Lawrence Taylor. Now, Lawrence Taylor was always going to be Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor was Superman before Carl Banks, but he got better when Carl Banks showed up because he freed up Taylor to rush the quarterback. Now, let's see here. We also, Fandor says, how has Dory Jackson worked out for the Giants? Really respect the guy. When he was Titans, he played better in the second half of the season. He's going to be our starting number 1 CB. I'm leery of it. If you look around the rest of the NFL was shocked that the Giants when the Titans released him, they were shocked that the Giants gave him a raise coming off an injury. So we got to see what he does. If he does not play well, we're in a lot of trouble. Todd Taylor says, on Jackson on this team, that's about it. Not terrible, nothing great. I agree, 100%. Jay, I think the Giants made huge mistakes by not drafting Malik Willis.
All aboard the Malik Willis Express.
You know how I feel about that. Jay. You know how I feel about that. LeVar says, if Jones has a great season, I say we bring him back on 2-year prove-it deal and give DJ time to prove he's not a fluke and give our rookie quarterback time to develop when we have to draft one. He's not going to want a 2-year prove-it deal. And a 2-year prove-it deal is still probably going to cost you $20 million a year. So you're going to still take, you have let's say you have $55 million in cap space. You're going to give $20 million of it to Daniel Jones and only have $35 million in cap space when you already have 37% of your cap tied into 4 guys. Can't do that, LeVar. Irish Rover is in the house. Good morning, Tim. Looking forward to watching some Giant football. Put Carl Banks in the Hall of Fame. Put Carl Banks and Phil Simms in the Hall of Fame. Phil Simms at one point in time, well, not one point in time, he threw for over 33,000 yards, 199 touchdowns, led the Giants to a Super Bowl win, Super Bowl MVP. I think he was 3-time Pro Bowler, was leading the Giant team in 90 to Super Bowl for Hostetler. He got hurt against Buffalo and Hostetler took over. At one point in time, he was in the top 15 of all NFL passing categories. He doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, but Ken Stabler and Troy Aikman do. Okay. Okay. Todd Taylor says, huge mistake not gambling on Willis when he fell to us. And when he did, what the blank did we have to lose? You had nothing to lose. You really did. But 32 teams passed on him twice. And, you got to give the Tennessee Titans credit. There was a perfect spot for him to go to Tennessee because of the fact that he would be able to sit behind Ryan Tannehill. He's still raw. But if you watched him in training camp for the Titans and you watched him play, one of the things that impressed me the most about him was the fact that his accuracy in college was suspect at times, but his ball placement in the pros and where he's been putting and that's what people don't understand between there is a difference in reference when you talk about accuracy and ball placement. Accuracy can be defined also by drops and certain other inevitable value. We got ourselves a bot. But accuracy is a tricky thing. Ball placement is what you need to look at. Ball placement allows you. We don't have porn today. I prefer the porn bots. What you need to do is when you're throwing the ball, they've talked about this before because I hate when they talk about yards of separation in reference to, wide receivers, and Daniel Jones wide receivers only got 1.7 yards of separation. In the NFL, you create your own throwing windows. In the NFL, you throw your wide receivers over, and it's all about ball placement. And one of the things I loved about Malik Willis this training camp and preseason was watching his ball placement. He had phenomenal. He was putting the ball in the spots where only the wide receiver could get to it. He was putting the ball in a spot that it was positionally correct for the wide receiver. And that's a big part of accuracy. What do we got here? RFFD says, what can we save cutting Jenny D? No, we can't. We can't. That's the thing. We can't. You cut Kenny G. You're going to save $6 million, but you're going to have 14.7 in dead. You cut Adore, you're saving $9 million. You're going to have $10 million in dead cap space. That's $24 million in dead cap space. Right off the bat, if you want to cut those guys, that's right off the bat. That's your dead cap number. You can't cut them. You just can't. Oh, what's Mazinga said? Tim likes to get 50 likes. He drops the boom. But Dominic Palma from across the pond says Malik Willis. Again, I agree on Malik once he fell out of the first round, but alas, the ship has sailed. The ship has sailed, and that's why I'm a tight. I have Malik Willis jersey. I got a number 7. I got to tighten up. Someone actually gave me a tighten up T-shirt, so I have a tighten up T-shirt. I'm a Titan when they're not playing the Giants. I'm a Titan fan. Or Malik Willis, man. Mike Lee says our CB1 is our CB1 because there is nobody else. That's not good. That's the point. That's the point. You know what? And I've said this before. Even when you're the best of the worst, you're still number 1 because there's nobody else. Think about that one for a minute. Ponder that one for a minute. Oh my God.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
That really did get out of hand fast, Mike Lee. Vander says, I have screened when the Titans got Willis. Never expected him to fall to us in the 3rd round. Never expected Titans would even have a chance to draft him. I never even projected the Titans to draft or have a shot to have to be on the Titans, to be honest. I never even thought about it. RFFD says, we're all yelling on the live stream when the 3rd round came. Malik Willis was there, and we spent a guy on a pick that needs weight and a pancake stack to be a decent size. Cordell Flott was the guy. Cordell Flott was the man. And I don't like the Cordell Flott pick. I did not like it. I did not like it, Sam I am. I did not like Joe Shane when he did it. I did not like Brian Dable when he approved it. Did not like it, Sam I am. But it is what it is. And you have to hope that Cordell Flott shows something because he didn't show anything during the games. He showed stuff during training camp, but he did not show much during the game. We got more NFL TV stuff. You know, I love it because I put people in timeout and block them. And it's the best place to watch NFL TV. They're our new sponsor. Usually we're sponsored by Lickety Split Porn, but evidently they're not showing up today. Whatever the porn was. Fendor says, this is a fun chat. Well, you know what? We try to be a fun chat, and I try to indulge all of their fans from all across. You know, it's always fun. It's always fun when groups of fans jump in and we have a good time, especially when they come from other teams. I'd like to hear everyone else's perspectives. Logic Finance says, Tim, fans think Daniel Jones will be the next Jay Bruner. God, Jay Bruner. That's impossible. He was a bust and his time was up. Jay Bruner, the big old slugger for the Yankees. I think he also went to Seattle at one point. He was the next Babe Ruth. he was the next Dave Winfield. He was everything in between and nothing at the same time. Big swing, big bat. When he connected, I always think of the movie Signs with Merle, the brother, you know, who played minor league baseball. And there's a scene where he is in the he's looking to join the army, and he has a scene where that they're talking about how he has a major league record. He has a record for most strikeouts in the minor leagues. And the guy that was egging him on in the office looks at him and goes, yeah, you know, no matter what, Merle would just swing as hard as he can and whip that bat around as fast as hard as he can. That was Jay Bruner. Jay Bruner is Merle from the movie Signs. But where do we think this Giant team is going to go this Sunday coming up? Where do we think? Do we truly think, like I said, I don't think I'm not going to give my prediction yet. Do we totally think this is a blowout? Do we totally think that this is a tighten up win? And like I said, I'm not going to say, I don't like to see what you guys think in the chat. You know what? We always do this because we gave away stuff last year by doing score predictions. So let's see the score predictions. Let's see what we're predicting the score to be. And you know what? If you get the prediction right, I don't remember what we gave away last year. I think we gave away T-shirts. We'll give away something. I don't know what we're going to give away yet. But put your score prediction in. Let's see let's get a feel for what Giant fans think in reference to the who's going to win the game and the final score. And if you can't do it because you're at work and you're just hanging out in the chat, do what you can. Secretly send it to me through Morse code, and I will let you have that score prediction. Hey, we're at 50 likes. Let's get to 60 likes. We're gonna probably end this in about 20 minutes or so, because I got another video coming out at 11:30. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Dominic Palmer says it's gonna be Tennessee. Caveman Sports. I always think of Captain Caveman when I see that. DJ should win 10 games, and the Giants will get a new quarterback. Yeah, DJ could win 10 games, and the Giants would probably get a new quarterback. You're right. You're 100% right. Yeah, we got a lot of NFL. That's my NFLATV.com. That's one of my new sponsors. I don't like to brag. I have all these sponsors that come in. I don't like to talk about it, though. That's just how famous I am. Razzle the Great says it's going to be 31-17 Titans. Jay says not drafting Willis is Shane's first big mistake. His first big mistake could be Wando Robinson. That could be his first big mistake. His second big mistake could be how he managed some of the salary cap, because like I said, he could have done a lot of these moves. And we talked about the Logan Ryan move. We talked about the James Bradbury move. We talked about the Blake Martinez move, how we created 30+ million of the 42 million of his dead cap number. We've talked about that ad nauseum. So we just gotta watch. We just gotta keep our eye and keep out and keep on taking a look at this. Let's see. Marlon Jackson has to say Maryland Jackson, or is it Marlon Jackson? 24-20 Giants. I like that kind of score. Nikki comes in with 27-17. Tennessee unfortunately wins. Irish Rover says close game than most think. 21-17 Titans win. Jay has the Giants taking this game 24-21. Captain Caveman says fan predictions: G-Men 24-20, realistic Titans 28-20. I like your fan prediction. I like that one a lot. Vinny, what does Vinny saying one say? It's 24-17 Titans win. LeVar comes in with the fact that it's 28-21 Giants, and James Williams, my brother from another mother, drafting Wandale Robinson and how he handled Blake. Yeah, and like I said, you have to question the Logan. If you moved all that money for Leonard Williams, you have to question the Logan Ryan move. Logan Ryan, we only saved $790,000. If we use the post June 1st designation, we save $3 million, but $1.5 million rolls into 2023. Same thing with Blake. Same thing with James Bradbury. You could have restructured James Bradbury's contract, kept the talent, and signed and basically had the same amount of savings if you kept him. There's some questionable, and I know we don't like questioning things because we're not allowed to question things as Giant fans. We're just supposed to be status quo. And I've said this before, a leader questions things, a follower just, deals with 2 years of Joe Judge. What do we got? Todd Taylor says it might be close because week 1 is literally the 4th preseason game, but the Titans will win unless they do something to give it to us. And I find it interesting that Ryan Tannehill didn't take a snap in preseason. Todd Taylor is going 24-10, and it's going to be the Titans. Mr. Singh says 56-3 Titans. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Fandor says, don't like doing the whole prediction thing. I just believe it will be closer than what a lot of people assume. I've said this before. This could be the anatomy of an upset. And we're going to have another video about that on Thursday, but this literally could be the anatomy of an upset. We have to look at it that way. James Williams says, got a slow Sir Herney and make Tannehill beat us 24-21 G-Men. Well, it's interesting, James. I didn't think you were going to go that way. JJ, what does JJ have to say? JJ goes 2016 G-Men. I like that even better. Mike says Giants 17-10. And he also says, I'm at work smoking ribs, Tim, and listening to your channel. Oh, yeah, Mike is the cook. Mike is the chef. I remember Michael. Ooh, smoking ribs. What are you smoking it with? I love smoking. I got a big green egg outside. I'm smoking and grilling 24/7. I think I got barbecue sauce for blood. What do we say? Armando says the Giants are 6-6 versus the Tennessee Titans. Okay. But what's your score prediction? Or did I pass it and don't remember saying it? Because I don't remember you having a score prediction, Armando. My brother Armando. Have you met my brother? Have you met my twin brother? Armando. Dominic Palmer, 2016 Titans. That means the Giants are going to win. Whatever Dominic says, just go the exact opposite. Fandor says Tennessee didn't play well in the preseason 2021. He started out slow. Could be the same outcome in 2022. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me either. James drops in the fact is as much grief as I give DJ, I really don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. You know what's funny? Miami didn't believe in Tannehill either. That's what I think Giant fans are worried about. That Daniel Jones is going to be Ryan Tannehill. That he is going to go someplace else and he's going to excel. Now, the only thought process that is wrong with that is Tannehill in his years with Miami kind of didn't have the team around him that he needed. But the kid still threw for 4,000 yards twice. He threw for more touchdowns than interceptions the entire time, every year he was there. He had 2 seasons where he threw for 66% for 4,000, 45, 27, and 12. He had 61%, 4,008 plus 24 and 12. And he still rushed for 400 yards, a couple touchdowns. He did not have a bad career in Miami. It's just in Miami still have Dan Marino on the mind. His second year was 33 throws, or 3,913 yards, 24 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. It's almost 400 yards rushing. He was still sacked 50-something times. I mean, he just isn't Dan Marino, but he had a progression of a career in Miami. He showed a progression. Daniel Jones has not showed the same progression that Tannehill showed in Miami. And that's why I don't understand the fear of letting him go when he has nowhere. If you take a look at the first 4 years in Ryan Tannehill's career, the first 4 years, he averaged 20 touchdowns and he averaged about 12 interceptions. He had 4,000 yards passing seasons. He had a 3,900 yard passing season year 2. He threw for over 24. He threw for either 24 touchdowns or more in 3 of the 4 years. You got to look at it. You got to look at it. Daniel Jones doesn't even approach those statistics. Logic says, riddle me this, Batman. When was the last time the Giants won a season opener? Oh, a long time ago. A long time ago, Batman. I don't remember, but let's see. Armando says 17 Giants. Jay says, I predict Barkley will break a 50-yard touchdown. I hope he does, because people forget Barkley had one of his worst games of his entire career as a rookie season against the Titans. That means nothing because it was a 19, but it's just like a stat I like to just throw out from now and then. Nikki says, Tim, I'm getting my card fixed and just got a bill for $1,250. Your live stream is easing my pain. Well, Nikki, I'm glad. Hope nothing was, I can't say hope nothing was seriously wrong with your car, because for $1,250, there's something there's something there. There's something wrong. Just for you, Nikki. We're going to do this early. Hello, everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, wishing Nikki the best of the rest of the day, because you know what? It's a crappy day. It's a crappy day. You got to put out that much money in the car. It's crappy. I've done that before. What does Michael says? Using pecan and peaches rub for the first time. I never tried pecan peaches. That's an interesting rub combination. Armando's got the score 24-17 Giants. James Williams says, hit that like button. We're only at 51 likes. 51. My wife's not going to be happy. Harvey Sharver says, if we can stop Henry, we can win, but can we stop Henry? I hope so. And I think that really sums it up. Yeah, I hope so too. Mark Stewart, Mark, I haven't seen you in the comment in a while, but I remember you early. 31-23. G-Man. Jay Salazar says, Tim, I hope both teams have fun. It's soccer. We're just going out to have a good time. It's the butterflies versus the wind. We're all winners here. Oh my God. I just remember the King of the Hill episode when they're playing football, because they're in Texas and that's the big thing, football. But then the soccer league comes up and it was the rain versus the wind, and they didn't keep score and everybody was a winner. So it just makes me laugh. Everyone's a winner. What do we got here? Let's see if Tony plays, man. Sniper and sniping. You know what? I don't know. Does he play? He might. Like I said, he's hopeful. We've created a whole new category for Kadarius Toney. There's probable. There's questionable. There's doubtful. There's out. Kadarius Toney. We're hopeful. Hopeful that he can play. And that came from the coaching staff. That we're hopeful that he can play. Oh my goodness. Logic's Finest says 31-10 Tennessee. Mike Lee says 21-15 Titans. That's a weird score. It's an interesting score. Armando says Logic 31-10 laugh. No way our defense is that much trash. Here's the problem. I'm not saying I could see if Tannehill has a good game, the Titans putting up 27. I could see that if Tannehill knocks off the rust from not playing at all preseason. Now, some teams have shown that if you don't play your starters in preseason, how bad it could be. I remember the Bears a couple of years back when they were considered a playoff contender, did not play their starters whatsoever. And that's when we had 4 preseason games, and they dropped like the first 3-4 games in a row. Armando says Dory Jackson gets a pick 6. What do we got? Sniper says, what I don't get is you see him on the practice field doing all these things, but when it's time to play, he's out. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. Hey, Ron Juan's in the room saying Daniel Jones will throw for 3,500 yards. Sorry, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Leonard Williams gets 3 sacks. I knew where this was going. I knew where this was going.
What's your sign?
Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
I saw this going. Daniel Jones will throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Leonard Williams gets 3 sacks. Hold on. Let me put away my white powdery substance sitting here next to me. I knew where it was going. I saw Ron Juan and I read the first half and I said, this is not going to end well. Jay says, I think the Giants last season opened with a win. The win was in Dallas Stadium. Was that it? Was that the year that Eli wrecked the opening of the big stadium in Dallas and wrote on the wall and everyone got pissed off? And then they covered it up a couple of years later. How do you do that? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. Todd Taylor says, how many people think we should go back to the 80s uniform full time? I agree. I'm with that. I'll be okay with that. The secondary is useless in coverage, and the front 7 is Swiss cheese. Logic's Finest says 31-10. Like I said, if Henry runs well and Tannehill can shake off some rust and the wide receivers figure it out against the Giants' vaunted Legion of Boom secondary, you could potentially see them putting up 27 points and controlling the clock. And if they put up 27 points and control the clock, it's over for the Giants. The Giants don't have that quick strike. And I know everyone talks about Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney had 3 good quarters out of a rookie season and no touchdowns. Kenny G had all of his touchdowns, the majority of his touchdowns in one season in Detroit. So I love when people are like, well, he's this jump ball guy. We're going to use him in the end zone. I never saw it. He's not Plex. Plex had speed. Plex had strength. Plex had the ability to push the ball carrier, the defender off him and create a mismatch. I don't see that with Darius. I just don't. I'm not Darius. I might see it with Darius, but I don't see that with Kenny. I just don't. I wish I did. Vinny says, I'm thinking our defense is going to be the 2017 bench. I hope it's not as bad as James Betcher's defense. I really hope not. What do we got here? Your thoughts on Evan Neal? Had some bad moments. He's a rookie. All rookies are going to have bad moments. All rookies are going to look lost, but that's what you do as a rookie. And that's okay, because that's what rookies do. And I'm fine with that. I am fine that he is a rookie, and I'm fine that he is going to have his rookie growing pains. And that's going to happen. Kenny does need to go. Glenn says, hold up, Tim. Have some respect. Football is tough and rough and tough and not easy and very physical. I played as a defender 5 years ago. I broke my best friend's leg. Respect football, aka but football, but aka soccer, but it's football. I give respect for soccer. I watched it with Dom when he was here from the UK. They run around a lot. So I give him respect for that. I give him respect for that. I give him props for that. It's soccer. It's soccer. But I give him respect. I have Derrick Henry on my fantasy team, so I have mixed feelings about this game. I drafted Derrick Henry with my first overall pick in my fantasy draft yesterday. So that should tell you something. We're gonna grab the last 2 comments. We're gonna bang out of here at 10:15. because I got another video coming out. We got Fence Endor says Titans love to keep playing and keep away when they have that to score. Difficult to come back against them with a guy like running like Derrick Henry. You also have a good backup running back. I can't remember the kid's name. Dreadpool says I have seen Saquon, so if anything we've seen in the preseason is a scheme where running backs like Corbin and Williams were prepped, peppered, and targets. Good things can happen. I'm hoping. Let's see. Our entire receiving core is a bunch of Phil McConkeys. Hey, don't knock Phil McConkey. Phil McConkey had that deflection touchdown off Bavaro in the Super Bowl. Why he never got the yardage. He always averaged like 8 yards on a punt return, but he never fumbled. He always knew when to fair catch. And he had the ability every once in a while to get like 20, 30 yards. But I never knocked Phil McConkey. The proper name is kickball. I love it because there was a comedy sketch where they're talking about soccer and how different countries perceive soccer. And, they have the Americans now just like, and he kicks the ball to the forward. He kicks it back to the center. He kicks it back to the other guy. He kicks it to the other guy. And he's like, he kicks it to the other guy. He kicks it to the other guy. He kicks it to the other guy. He holds the ball. And then it's like you have the Spanish television for it. It's like and they all get excited. He holds the ball. He kicks it. I don't know. Logic's Finest says soccer plays very much physical conditioning. The football players and shooting skills are very difficult to master. It's soccer. Titan backup is Dontre Hilliard. That's who it is. Hilliard. Thank you. I knew you would know. I think Barkley outrushes Henry. I hope he does. I'll take Guy McConkey and Hilliard now. I would take Ike Hilliard now. I would take Amani Toomer now. I would take a lot of guys now. And you know what, guys? We are going to have to wrap this up because of the fact that we're going to be doing this show again tomorrow. So you know how we're going to end it. Everyone, this is Tim Online Big Blue, bringing you the best and New York Giants sports talk entertainment. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. I want to thank everyone for having a good time. I want to thank everyone for coming into the chat. We're going to do this show for the next 2 days at 9 p.m. So make sure you be there. And you know what, guys? Appreciate it. But we are out of here.